All right, we're back. Oda has returned, and he has given us a glorious first chapter since the break. I am very excited. So I did read the scans when they were first leaked, published, something, whatever you want to call it, and I was so happy. But essentially, I wanted to wait till Viz put out theirs as well, just so I can compare the official compared to the scan translations and see if there were any big changes, and I'm happy to say that there were not, just a couple different phrasing of things. But one thing I love more in the official release that I will get to eventually. So we start with Battleship Bags, which is just the perfect name because we open with the devastation that is Garp and his students, pupil Aokiji, back in the day, who go to this shipyard to train where they just punch the hulls of boats. Armored ships, by the way, may or may not be reinforced with the sea prism in addition to being just armored. So that's wonderful. And without Haki, they're just pounding on these boats for training. And there's a comment made about how the power that they have, the sheer Garp the Fist, who is known for his brutality and strength, brutality being strength, not cruelness, was not something that they were born with. It was something that they earned through training, and I love this moment. And I didn't pick up on this myself, but later in the flashbacks, it was mentioned in Murphy Napier's video, that I think her comment section had, or Discord had pointed out to her. You can see Aokiji, when he was training, it's just like a little thud. Bam, or something like that, and then Garp's punch in response is just boom, right big, and then eventually it works its way up as he continues to train, showing progression of time, till they're both just like whack, both right strong images. I really love that little tiny moment, even though I missed it when I read it myself. I didn't know I needed Garp and Kuzan flashbacks about him training him. I didn't know I needed Kuzan being like, hey, train me, I've learned everything I can from the other Marines. He's like, no, don't hamper my freedom. I'm not going to waste my time training you. Yeah, you are. And then them training. I didn't know I needed him being like, I'm an admiral now. I don't have time to go to lunch with you. Yeah, well, whatever. We're going for tea. But no, we're going for tea. I didn't know I needed those moments, and I did, and I'm so happy. Garp is an absolute beast, and I love it. Just like throwing the giant guy in Blackbeard's crew into the ocean, and then they're like, we have to get him out before he drowns. Like it's nothing. Tossing the giant among men, or was it the giant among men or giant among giants? It doesn't matter. He tossed him into the ocean. And then the fire guy is just like, oh, he's not that tough, blows fire at him. Garp just holds the two pirates up in front of him, use them as human shields. Garp has no chill. It's wonderful. He's wrecking the place, and everyone's just like, we can't stop him. What do we do? And it's, again, I'm going to say it a lot, it's a delight. I love this so very much. You have Kobe and the other Marines being just like, yep, that's Garp. Let him run havoc across everything. I love the little banter that he's half ignoring. You got one of the Marines being like, oh god, I should have got out of here when I had the chance. The ship with the civilians and the hostages are all sailing away. I wish I was on it. And the other one being just like, Garp, when you said Kobe's the future of the Marines, you mean me too, right? I'm the future of the Marines too. And oh my god, he wants to be recognized by Garp. And Garp's just like, alright, you guys, get out of here. When I give the word, make a run for it. Do not die. And I love that little bit of care he's showing. Only for sweet boy Kobe, my darling little angel, who deserves all the... Oh, just don't hurt Kobe. Don't hurt Kobe. He sees someone being, like, one of the hostages being like, oh, we missed one. Thank God we hadn't left yet. He went to go help, only for it to be a pirate in disguise. He needs to learn to have his observation Haki activated at all times, is all I can say. And then, what's his name? The buddy from Impel Down Chiru? He's invisible, and he goes to stab Kobe, but Garp gets in the way, recognizing it to be a trap, and Garp is stabbed through the stomach, chest, whatever. A little bit reminiscent of Whitebeard. I'm not sure if that's an intentional choice. It might be. But that being said, there's only so many places you can stab someone and be a near fatal, very critical injury, so maybe not intentional, parallel to Whitebeard there. But Garp, in that moment, is still talking to Kobe, because Kobe's just like, oh my god, he got stabbed trying to save me, and Garp's like, don't flower yourself, more or less. He was always aiming for me, this isn't your fault. Arguable, I'm going with it was, I know if I target one of the younger Marines, Garp will jump in the way, and that's the best way to get Garp. So either way, a little bit on Kobe there, but we're not blaming Kobe because he's a sweet boy. Oh, the moment in the official translation that I like more is when Garp takes Shiryu. We've established I'm bad with names. Slams him into the ground while he is still stabbed through the chest, stomach, gut, whatever, and levels. Wonderful. And then he's like, you're that tiny little punk or small-time punk from Impel Down. This man, who had been imprisoned in level 6 for the slaughter of other prisoners, being just cruel for Impel Down standards, who slaughtered guards, who was deemed too dangerous for the public to know of his crimes, Garp is calling him a small-time thug. And oh my god. Of course, the other pirates on the island want to take advantage of the fact that Garp had been stabbed, so they're like, okay, he's weak and even we can take him down now. Kuzan's just like, no, you can't. He could have both his arms tied behind his back and being completely immobile. None of you would be able to take him. So he runs in to continue the fight. That's when we get more of the flashbacks. And they make a comment saying, you have a habit of raising enemies. And he's theoretically referencing to the fact that his son is in the Revolutionary Army. His adopted grandchild through Ace was a pirate with Whitebeard, also Roger's kid. And Luffy, of course, his other grandson is like one of the worst air quotes, pirates that there is. And he's like, these are all enemies of the Marines. And now he himself, his pupil, has turned to the Blackbeard pirates, the worst of the worst. However, I was hesitant and thinking previously that Kuzan actually might have went to Blackbeard's side to not be undercover. Like, I legit thought he just switched sides to work with Blackbeard because enemy of my enemy. They had a common goal, went with Blackbeard pirates. I was convinced he wasn't undercover for the Marines. I'm convinced he's not necessarily undercover for the Marines, but he's definitely getting a message to Garp being like, hey, your son's not a bad guy. Your grandson's not a bad guy. Your other grandson's not a bad guy. Me as your pupil, who you raised, and I'm telling you that you raised some enemies, I'm also not a bad guy. I got a plan. There's something going on. He's getting a hint to Garp that there is more going on with his motives. I'm convinced on that. You have them both taking a punch to the face and sending each other flying. And Kobe, rightfully so, is like, oh my god, Garp, are you all right? And Garp just says, it's okay, justice will prevail, as Island's fruit guy is going to attack the ships that are sailing away. And it's the line of justice will prevail that's really hanging in my head, because that has to be an intentional quote from Dofi, because justice will prevail because justice is going to be written by the winners. So he's kind of saying that we're going to win here, but I don't know if we're intentionally quoting a celestial dragon, which he hates, if he's just saying that there's no way the Marines will lose, if he is justice and he's going to come out on top. I'm interested to see really much so what's going to be the fallout given that last line. Speaking of what I've seen floating around from everyone else discussing this chapter, a lot think Garp's going to die. I'm not getting that. Not even a little bit. Like, I can't see Garp dying here. I can't narratively see Garp die with Luffy being nowhere around. It makes a little bit of sense in the idea if he dies to protect Kobe being the future of the Marines, to get him off. But narratively, plot-wise, I can't see it happening. I can't rationalize it. In my head, I don't think Luffy's going to come save him or anything like that. He's probably going to be taken hostage in a worst-case scenario and used as a bargaining chip, because that's what Blackbeard wanted to do with Kobe. But I don't even see that. I can see them getting away somehow. But my theory on how they're going to get away would be that the Revolutionary Army is going to come and save them. And I want to see him interacting with his son. I want that bickering. I want that conversation. Oda, please don't rob me of that. I am begging you. So that's where I think that's going there. And I had so many, not issues, I was angry at Garp for a very long time from Marineford. I was convinced that he was talking to Luffy on the phone snail back when they were going to rescue Ace, and I was convinced that there was some kind of hidden message that he had put out being like, hey, and we would get a flashback of a heist they had pulled or something, some game that they played as kids, and it was a message to say, this is how we're going to actually save Ace. And I was so wrong. I was so wrong. I seen Garp sitting there with his grandson beaten and bloody, and he didn't step in to save him. And I'm so angry. It made perfect sense for his character, the hero of the Marines, struggling between his family and his found family in the Marines and the Navy, the hero of the people, what it would mean if he were to betray the Navy and that be published and everyone around the world see this man and what the common people would lose faith in and couldn't believe that would happen. And he couldn't do that to them as well. I can see all that and be very reasonable for his character, but I can still hate him for not being, like, standing up for Ace. But then you had him taking that hit from Luffy, and I'm like, of course, he's trusting in Luffy to be the one to save Ace, to save them, follow the dreams. He's going to be the one to do this. I can't, but Luffy can, and the faith and trust he had in his grandson to save Ace, yes, that, I'm like, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It's fine. Only for Ace to fall and die, and then Garp, in his fury, going to attack Magma Bastard until Sengoku stopped him and had to hold him down. He's like, if you let me up, I'm going to kill that man. So I had so mmany mixed feelings with Garp. It's like, your inaction caused the death of your grandson. And Dadan beating him into the ground because he deserved it, and how much pain she was in, knowing how much pain Luffy was in. There was so much to Garp's character. I'm so angry at him during that time period, but I understand him, which made it worse somehow. And then we cut to him going, now so many chapters later, risking everything to save Koby. And I mean risking, because if Koby is a member of SWORD, the Navy is not supposed to come rescue him. They are on their own. Garp did not ask for permission. He's likely going directly against the orders and protocol of the Marines to invade the pirates' island and go get his pupil back. And that's wonderful. That is such a change from Marineford. And he is leveling this. We see how much he can fight, how strong he is, and what he's willing to risk to get them back. So yes, Garp is completely forgiven in my heart. I love this. I love this first chapter back. It's so nice being caught up, but it's still terrible because I'm not a patient person. I'm not a patient person at all. So do tell me what you think about this current chapter, what you think is going to happen, what you're more excited for, figuring out what's happening with Garp and Koby, or do you want to go back with to Egghead, or do we want to see what's happening in the Sacred City, or the Red Line, whatever. For all we know, we're going back to Fishman Island, or we'll spend some time with Vivi. What are you hoping to see? Because everywhere in the world, something is going on. Are you more excited to see what happened with Kid or La? What Blackbeard is doing? Which of the Blackbeard's crew is heading to Egghead? I'm so excited for literally anything and everything that could happen. I will talk to you later. I'm so happy to be caught up. I'm so happy. All right. Bye. Maven. Why? Maeve, those are my books. Please don't sit there.